Terumot, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Yud. Last Mishnah in the first chapter of Terumot. It says the Mishnah, something we've talked about, we've sort of alluded to before, we're going to talk about in greater detail. It says the Mishnah, Ein tormin mi davar shenigmara melachto, al davar shelo nigmara melachto. So if I have a grain that's not nigmara melachto, okay, that's not complete, it's not finished, it's not ready to be used, then I can't take truma off of something that's nigmar melachto and include it in something that's lo nigmar melachto. Because that's what really truma is. I've got these piles of grain, or I have some piles that are more finished, some piles that are less finished, and I'm only going to take a little bit from one of the piles. So the Mishnah is telling us that the piles have to be equal. They have to be nigmar melachto. They have to be fully prepared. The Terumah explains, what does this mean? What does it mean, nigmara melachto? It has been completed. Midavar shenitmarach b'kri. We have seen this term before. Nitmarach is from the word limareach, miruach, smearing. Miruach is to smear. And what happens is, the kri is a storehouse. What happens is, when they finally finished harvesting, they would take the grain, they would put it into the storehouse, and then they would push it down. They would smear it down, because they wanted to know how much it was. That was the final stop, to see how much they had. They would do miruach hakri. And that was called gemar melacha, the ending, the completion of the grain. So says the Terumah, if I have davar shelo nigmarachto, meaning shelo nigmarach b'kri, I have different piles. Some of them are ready, some of them are done. I'm not adding to the piles. Some of them are not done. I guess they aren't harvested, they aren't threshed in the proper way, what have you. So therefore, I can't say, listen, I'm going to take truma from one of these piles for all of them, because in that case, I would be torim midavar shenigmara melachto. Let's say I have one pile that I already smeared down. I did miruach. And I want to take from that pile, al davar shelo nigmara melachto. You can't do that. You also can't do the other way around. V'lo mi davar shelo nigmara melachto. And I can't take from something that's lo nigmara melachto, that hasn't had miruach hakri, al davar shelo shenigmara melachto, on something that's nigmara, that's finished. And also, v'lo davar shelo mi davar shelo nigmara melachto. I can't take truma from a pile that's incomplete, that's not finished, al davar shelo nigmara melachto, on another pile that's not completed. And the reason for this is, the Terumah explains why. Dichtiv, as it says, kedagan mina goren u'kamalaya mina yakem. Let's look at the pasuk for a second. The Torah says, here we are, and then remember, even though these pasukim are talking about Trumat Ma'aser, nonetheless we relate them, we associate them with Ma'aser itself. Okay? Ve'amartei to the Leviim, ki tikru me b'nei Yisrael ta Ma'aser asher natati lechem itam. When you take from the Jewish people the Maaser, v'nachalatchem, in your inheritance, v'harei motem, mimenu trumat Hashem. That's called trumat Maaser. Maaser mina Maaser, 1/10 of the 10th. Okay? But the pasuk says, v'nechshav lachem. We learn a bunch of dinim about this. V'nechshav lachem, trumatchem. It has to be, kedagan min hagoren u'kemele'a min hayekev. Dagan means grain from the goren, and mele'a min hayekev. From the yekev is from the vine. It has to be complete. And so the Terumah says that we learn from there, it has to be min hagamur ala gamur. You can only take truma from that which is gemar melachto for things that are gemar melachto. I can't take gemar melachto on non-gemar melachto, and I can't take non-gemar melachto on also a non-gemar melachto. When I take truma, I have to take truma for something that's ready for the Kohen to use, and I'm only able to take it from something that's also ready for me to use. And that we learn out from the din in the Torah. Okay, but v'im tarmu trumatam truma. And if they did take truma, trumatam truma. Now the Terumah says something interesting. V'davka b'shar perot. That's only most produce, all other produce, except hatarei min hazeitim al Hashem and o min anavim al hayayin. Remember, we learned in Mishnah Dalid. I'll take you back. We have to go scroll all the way back. In Mishnah Dalid, we said, Ein tormin zeitim al hashemen v'ol anavim an hayayin. You can't take for olives on shemen, and the reason we said is because, therefore, kedagan min hagoren min hagamur ala gamur. Okay? And if you did, v'im tarmu, Beit Shammai said, trumat atzman behem, there is some level of truma, but Beit Hillel said, Ein trumatam truma. So we had Beit Hillel, in this case, say, Ein trumatam truma. So how come in that case, Ein trumatam truma, but in our case, we said, Im tarmu trumatam truma. There seems to be a contradiction. So therefore, the Terumah explains, based on the Yerushalmi, that this Mishnah is b'shar perot, aval, but for zeitim and anavim, for olives or grapes, we said, Be'el ein trumato truma. Why? There, the reason is because there's a pseida la-kohen. There's a loss for the kohen. The kohen is going to have to do all the work. It's unfair. So therefore, even though we normally say truma to truma, that Mishnah there we say ain't truma to truma because it's gzeira, because it causes a loss for the kohen. And that's how we explain. That's how we can explain this apparent contradiction between Mishnah Dalid and our Mishnah here, Mishnah Yud. There are other explanations if you want to see. You can see in the Kahati. The Kahati says that there are other opinions in the Yerushalmi. You can look them up if you want. Read the Kahati on your own time. We'll stop here. If you have any comments or questions, as always, feel free to contact me at rspolter@gmail.com. I'll dedicate this Mishnah's learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a great day.